Good morning, students. So we've been spending all week long, besides Wednesday, talking about the water cycle. We should all be experts on the water cycle by now. Well, I promise we'll move on soon, but since this is the first Friday we've had class in a long time with our benchmarks and then with no school, we're going to do something pretty fun today. But first, let's review the stages of the water cycle one more time. We'll begin with the runoff stage, which is simply the flow of water that comes from excess rain, meltwater, snow melting into water, stuff like that. It's just like this lake, for example. This is actually the lake in Mr. Doss's hometown. Now remember that this is simply what we picture as water on Earth, not just this lake, but rivers, puddles, oceans, etc. Now, what comes after this? We must not forget about transpiration first. Transpiration can sometimes take the place of runoff in the water cycle. Now, when plants open their pores during photosynthesis, the water inside these plants escapes, and then it can evaporate into the atmosphere. Now, why do plants have so much more water than animals do? Because of photosynthesis. The same reason that plants have chloroplasts and animals don't. Remember that when these pores open, it's during photosynthesis, when those plants are opening up to intake that carbon dioxide. So now that we have runoff and transpiration, what comes next? Evaporation. Now, as the heat from the sun makes these water molecules warmer, these liquid water molecules warmer, the molecules then start to move way quicker. When they start moving really quickly like that, they turn into a gas or a vapor, and they escape into the atmosphere through this process. Now, following evaporation is what we call condensation. Now, when the water that is turned into gas or vapor escapes into the atmosphere, the water all begins to collect, kind of hang out together, and form clouds. Now, this gas or vapor is eventually cooled while in the cloud, which slows the molecules down, eventually turning this gas or vapor back into a liquid form within the cloud, like in our water bottle experiment we watched on Monday. Now the last stage, remember, not really the last stage because there's no beginning or end, but the last stage about which we're going to talk is what we refer to as precipitation. As these water vapors are turning into liquids in the cloud, they're taking up more and more space in that cloud. That space eventually runs out. Think about if we just kept adding students into our class over and over and over. At some point, there'd be no more room to push any more kids in there. When this happens in the clouds must release that water in some form. But remember that precipitation can be any form: rain, snow, hail, sleet, etc. Any type of water in any form coming from the clouds to the earth is precipitation. So I said we were going to do something fun today, right, class? Well, this may sound like you're in Miss Holden and Miss Lever's class, but today we're going to turn into authors. We're going to write a story as if we're little tiny water droplets. Have fun with this and make it your own. A water droplet might look something like what we're going to show you in the guided practice today.